I've discovered that MarmiteMan4 has a blog, and I'm just going to read it for my own personal amusement and add some mocking comments along the way. So, the title of MarmiteMan4's blog is called "Are Pedophile Rights Next?" I'm only pronouncing that pedophile because that's how he spelt it, even though he's not American, he's a Geordie. And I think this title very much sets the tone for the blog to come, i.e. idiotic right-wing scaremongering. Okay, we begin. In a post-modernist world run by progressives, we must ask ourselves, when does the ball stop? How far will progressives go to achieve their dream of an equal utopia? When I heard paedophiles are calling for the same rights as homosexuals, and that sort of links to some stupid right-wing article about paedophiles wanting the same rights as homosexuals, I wasn't surprised. The level of degeneracy will continue to rise as we're told we're living in the past and we have to evolve. I'm sorry I keep doing this, but that's what he's written. These progressive lunatics have effectively taken over the media and the education system. They're forcing children to accept the reality of homosexuality and transgender rights. How long until, spelt with 2 L's, they're forcing children to let adults abuse them? Wow! Talk about a slippery slope fallacy there, MarmiteMan4. Oh, God. Progressives constantly take credit for the abolition of slavery, the first step to an equal and fair world. What these progressives don't tell you is that white Europeans didn't want to own slaves. It was Semites such as Jews and Arabs who owned slaves and sold them off cheaply to North America. I don't agree with slavery. I think everyone would be better off today if the African slaves were never taken to North America. I will not allow progressives to take responsibility for it. Slavery ended because the British Empire wanted it to end, and the British Empire was certainly no progressives. Moral men and women ended slavery because they didn't want it in the first place. Fact, written entirely in uppercase. Yeah, your heart really has to bleed for the poor British Imperials who, against their will, according to MarmiteMan4, had to endure a good best part of 2 centuries of being forced to own slaves. Yeah, you really just, heart has to bleed for them, doesn't it? And of course, yeah, it is definitely obviously wrong to call people who made progress by going from owning slaves to abolishing the slave trade and eventually abolishing slavery itself, who made that progress. It's definitely wrong to call them progressives, isn't it? It's not like that's where the word progressive comes from. And of course we're giving women and men equal credit here, despite the fact, you know, really that was not the case at all during that time in history. Next up for the progressives was segregation. Just to put it in, MarmiteMan keeps spelling certain words with capital letters for no reason. Like, segregation does not need a capital letter. I don't know why he keeps doing that. But anyway, which I do support. There's nothing wrong with races having their own areas and their own communities. Let them live in peace. But no can do for the progressives, since they had to end this evil way of life and force races to mix. Yeah, it's not like people of different races ever actually willingly become friends with each other or form communities. It's definitely something that's been forced upon them. Segregation didn't even end. Still today, races choose to live amongst each other in homogeneous urban areas and towns, i.e. whites in suburban zones in Texas and Arizona, blacks in urban zones in New York and Illinois. Of course, that doesn't have anything to do with economics, does it? No. Of course, they couldn't just stop with outlawing segregation. They had to promote racial mixing and multiculturalism, so one day the entire human race is one colour and shares one culture. Wow, what a boring world. No gingers, no blondes, no Slavics, no Germanics, no Anglos, no East Asians, no Arabs or Persians. Just one big gloop of human, probably some brown-coloured thing. They call this diversity! Exclamation mark. MarmiteMan4, I think you're confusing real life with South Park there. That's all I can really say about Now, away from the race issues, we return to one of the more devious creations of the progressives. This is my favourite part of his blog. Homosexuality. The homosexual philosophy they claim has been around for thousands of years, and it exists in animals too apparently, but what we do know is that it has only been around the 1960s, that we've had it shoved down our throats. Heck, even the UN agreed that homosexuality was a disease until the progressive mob forced them to change the meaning. They tell us it's not a choice, that people can't help being gay. I have to watch what I say because I'll be arrested by the tolerance police, but this makes me sick. I do at least appreciate that MarmiteMan4 here has used the word tolerance police instead of thought police, because at least that shows a little bit of originality there. Perhaps it's not a choice, but that certainly does not make it right. Can homosexuals procreate with each other? I thought not. Good for you, MarmiteMan. Very on the ball. And guess what? That makes it unnatural. No, it doesn't, MarmiteMan, at all. Nature doesn't have any kind of consciousness. It doesn't choose animals that can procreate only. For example, wanking would, by your definition, would be unnatural, and that's presumably something you did quite a lot of. And I mean, the 1960s, this has existed for thousands of years. The idea that you think homosexuality was created in the 1960s, you just think there were a couple of hippies sitting around going, hey man, well, we're kind of bored of fucking women, what should we do? I don't know, let's fuck each other. Cool, man. Yeah, total fucking nonsense. Homosexual rights has been a big issue in the last 20 years. Some countries have already legalised gay marriage, and now France and Scotland are about to join the club. Can the church stand up for its beliefs and refuse to marry a gay couple? No, because they'll be charged for hate crimes. So technically speaking, we're living in a dictatorship which forces you to accept homosexuality or be caged. Nice word, progressives. This truly feels like freedom at its most purest. And after that he's put the word sarcasm in brackets just in case any of his audience are too stupid to realise he's not being sarcastic, which they probably are. The actual answer to the question, can the church stand up for its beliefs and refuse to marry a gay couple, is yes, they can. They don't have to marry anyone if they don't want to. The idea that we live in a dictatorship which will put you in prison if you don't accept homosexuality is fantastically insane. I like that. That's brilliant. The definition of a dictatorship, according to MarmiteMan4, is somewhere where you're not allowed to be homophobic. So, complete nonsense. Pedophile rise next. That's probably supposed to say rights. Yes, you read it correctly. I'm going to talk about the possibility of pedophiles becoming a protected group. He keeps spelling pedophiles with a capital P as well. I don't know what the fuck for. Perhaps we'll be told that they're just born that way and they can't help it, or age is just a social construct and that children and adults should be able to fornicate. Now, age is not a social construct, MarmiteMan. Age is something that's scientifically provable, so that's stupid. You're stupid if you think anyone thinks that. Heck, it's a possibility. Nothing can be ruled out when dealing with progressives. I mean, who knows what filthy, spelt with a TH at the beginning, degeneracy fills their minds. They might as well legalise bestiality and heck throw in necrophilia too. There's a storm coming, folks. Dun 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 dun. Like the Terminator, isn't it? The progressives want more and more degeneracy to fill up the West. Yeah, that's definitely the goal of progressives. More degeneracy. Degeneracy for everyone. As paleo-conservatives and nationalists, we are obliged to defend our people from such evil. God is on our side. Sane people are on our side. I'd like to meet some of them. You have to ask yourself, why are we still doing nothing? We can end this madness. Cheers. Oh God. Thank you for listening to me reading and mocking MarmiteMan4's blog. I hope he makes some more so I can read them and mock them again. Goodbye.